Good morning, everybody. It is day 28 of the suffering. So it has officially been 4 weeks that I have been doing what I'm doing, training 6 days a week, doing cardio twice a week. And I got to tell you, every day that goes by, I'm just feeling better and better. I mean, some days I do get cravings and I do get hungry, but for the most part, I feel absolutely amazing. No seasoning, no salts, nothing but the same foods every single day, day in and day out for the last 28 days. And it's Sunday, so I weighed in today and I am down another 2 pounds. So that puts me down officially 18 pounds in 4 weeks. So it took me 4 weeks to lose 18 pounds of weight by doing cardio twice a day, training 6 days a week, and then eating 6 meals a day and being consistent with the foods that I'm eating. I actually got a comment saying that this is pure stupidity that I'm doing the what I'm doing with no seasonings and salts. That she said seasonings and salts literally cost you no calories. This is pure stupidity. Well, it's not about the calories and the seasonings and the salt. There's other reasons why I decided to drop the seasonings and salts. One, my blood pressure was elevated and I don't want to go on blood pressure medication. So I decided, you know what? Whenever I was 262 pounds, 263, my blood pressure was around 160. Well, I'm sorry, 160. It was around 140, 145 over 85 to 90. I came down to 230, and when I hit 230, my blood pressure came down to the 120s, and it got normal. Once I stopped losing weight and I started maintaining my size, my blood pressure went back up to 230 to 240. I'm sorry, 130 to 140 and 185 to 90. It went back up. So this time around, watching my blood pressure and monitoring it, I decided, okay, well, I know when I lose weight and do cardio, I'm going to drop my blood pressure because that's what happens whenever I'm doing cardio and I'm losing weight. My blood pressure decreases. But whenever I held 230 for 5 months, right? I didn't gain weight. I didn't balloon up. I stayed at 230. When I stayed at 230, my blood pressure elevated back up. And it's not that I was overeating or eating like these really bad foods. It's just that my blood pressure elevated. So I was like, well, let me see if I'm sensitive to sodium, and let me see if I decrease all my salts and sodiums and seasonings, if my blood pressure will come down, and how much will it come down. So after 4 days of decreasing my sodium, I dropped several pounds, and then my blood pressure tanked down to like 110 to 115 over 75 to 82, 83. So the reason why I'm not doing sodium and I'm not doing salt and seasonings is because I want to see if I'm sensitive to sodium and salt, and that's a direct correlation of my blood pressure skyrocketing. And I also want to see if I did drop my sodium, am I going to get cramps? Am I going to get headaches? Am I going to feel tired and exhausted and fatigued? Because whenever you lower your sodium or salt too much, you lose performance. You'll start getting groggy, exhausted, feeling worn out. You'll lose your performance will start to suffer and tank, and then you can suffer from body cramps, aches and pains, poor sleep. A bunch of things can happen from having low sodium. So I was like, all right, well, if I get rid of all the sodium, let me see what my blood pressure does, and let me see how my body responds. So I did. My blood pressure went down. I felt fine. I'm not cramping. I'm not having trouble sleeping. I'm not having any performance energy problems. I sweat throughout the day. I sweat when I do cardio. I sweat when I work out. And without putting that much salt back in my body, I was like, okay, surely I'm going to start cramping. I'm going to start having issues from the deficiency in sodiums and salts and seasonings. But that's not the case. I don't have any problems. The amount of salt that's naturally in the food and potassium that's in the food that I'm eating is enough to keep me from cramping. My performance is getting better. Cardio is getting easier. The weights are becoming like I'm getting more reps. I'm getting more sets, more reps, and more weight every workout. I add either a couple reps to each set or I add a couple pounds to each set every single time I work out. So I'm getting stronger. My performance is going up. So I have had no negative experiences from dropping all my sodium and all my salt. I've had none. It's been nothing but beneficial gains for me. It's been nothing but improved for me. Everything's improved for me. Everything. So the reason why I'm not doing salt and sodium isn't because of calories. It's for other reasons. I'm checking to see how my body responds to it and how I feel while I'm not getting an excess amount of sodium and I feel better. Am I going to add salt and sodium back in at the end of this 3 months? Yeah, I'm going to start adding a little bit of salt back in, but I'm not going to salt every single meal. I'm not going to add it to every meal. I might add it to maybe 2 meals, 3 meals, and it might be maybe only 500 milligrams for the day that I add total across my food, just to see if that has a performance increase on my output in the gym and not a negative side effect on my blood pressure. Some people are sensitive to sodium, some people aren't. I'm not going to say I am sensitive to sodium, but I know that whenever I was going out to eat pho and eating really heavy salty foods, within 30 minutes to an hour of eating them, I would start feeling like this overwhelming tightness in my quads and my arms, like I was literally about to start cramping up. Like I just got done doing the hardest set of squats in my life and the hardest set of bench press in my life, and my arms were literally about to start cramping up and seizing up on me, and they felt super fatigued and a lot of pressure and tight. I became super flush over my whole body. So whenever I noticed that I was eating heavier salty foods, I was getting a negative side effect within like 30 minutes to an hour of eating those foods. And it kind of started making me like, it has to be the salt. It's not the carbs. It's not the protein. It's not the fats. Like, what is causing this? So then I did a process of elimination. And I got to tell you, like, this isn't for everybody. And I don't encourage everybody to drop the sodium and salt. Some people out there, like my wife, has really, really low blood pressure naturally. Her blood pressure is like 110, or no, I'm sorry, not 110. It's like 98 to 105 over like 65. She has really, really low blood pressure, and the doctors are always telling her, you need to get your blood pressure up. You need to eat more salt. You need to eat more salt. You need to get your blood pressure up. So in her case, dropping sodium is incredibly stupid and not smart to do. So I'm not advocating or advertising for anybody to drop all the sodium and seasoning in their diet. That's not what I'm saying to anybody. I'm just letting you guys know exactly what it is that I'm doing and the reasons for me doing what I'm doing. And it's working for me. And that's the most important thing. It's working for me. I mean, 28 days, 18 pounds. I mean, that's incredible. The first 10 pounds was almost all water weight and internal waste. And once that water weight and internal waste rid itself of me, now it's nothing but pretty much body fat that I'm losing. I'm losing internal muscular water and volume, yes, because I'm in a deficit and I'm not eating as much as I ate and I'm doing a lot of cardio. So I look a lot smaller than I normally look muscularly wise. But once I add those carbs back in and I pick my sodium up a little bit, maybe 250, 500, I'm going to see how my body responds. And if that's fine, I might go up to 750 milligrams of sodium a day, then maybe even 1,000 milligrams a day, added to what I'm naturally normally eating. I'm not going to go overboard because I'm someone who loves salt and I can eat tons and tons of salt and not even think twice about it. Like I could eat probably 15,000 milligrams of sodium in a day and not even think nothing of it because I love salt. I don't care for sweets. I'm not a sweet eater. I'm more of a sodium salt based person. And my thing is, that's like when you have someone who's addicted to sugar and you have someone who's addicted to sweets and candies and high carb foods, that's diabetic. Take 100% of that away from them and watch what happens to their body. Their pancreas gets a break. They stop releasing insulin so much. Their receptors calm down. They get to go back on their medication and reduce their medication. They don't have, and I know this not from personal experience, but I've helped friends of mine who've had diabetes. And I've helped them lose weight and put them on diets and put them on restricted diets to the point after 6 months, they were 100% off of their insulin. They didn't even take insulin no more. They kept going to the doctor, and the doctor said, we need to reduce your insulin. We need to reduce your insulin. They got to the point where every one of them that did this with their diets did the exact same diet I'm doing right now. The only difference is they had its seasonings and salts. They just eliminated all the fast processed carbohydrates, sugars in their life. After 6 months of them losing weight and doing this, they were 100% off of all their medication. So if my problem is high blood pressure and I don't want to go on blood pressure medication and I don't want to have any issues with having kidney disease, stroke, heart attack, and having to take a pill every day for my blood pressure, the smartest thing to me is like, well, what's the number one thing that I consume that will cause my blood pressure to elevate? Well, it's sodium. So let me eliminate that. Just like if a diabetic has diabetes and you don't want to be diabetic or have to deal with your medication anymore, what's causing you to need the insulin? Stop eating what's causing you to need the insulin. It's logical. It doesn't take a science degree or a doctorate degree to figure this out, right? So as far as it goes for me, I also, like I said, I'm not going to say I was addicted to sodium, but I do prefer that as my seasoning, as my flavor, as my go-to. And there's a big problem with obesity in our country, but also it's an addiction to food. Food is very addictive. It's extremely addictive. And to have an addictive personality for some people, when they latch on to food, it's catastrophic. Now, I don't have an addictive personality. I never have. But at the same time, it's also like, well, am I addicted to this? Could I kick this? Could I get rid of this? Could I go without ever eating this again, or at least for a long period of time to fix my health? Well, let's find out how bad my addiction is to this, and if I can kick it and get rid of it. Well, guess what? I'm not addicted to it. I kicked it. I got rid of it. I feel better. So for people who are wondering why, this is part of the reason why. One, I want to get in the best shape of my life. Two, I want to get my 6-pack or my developed 4-pack, so that way whenever I'm lean enough, I can start actually working on my weak areas, build them up so I can start bulking and fix all those, so I can look at cutting and then going to a bodybuilding show and competing in bodybuilding. Three, I just want to. I mean, I don't see why this is so difficult for some people to wrap their heads around, and they have to be like, oh, you're an idiot, or you're a moron, or what's wrong with you? Like, okay, look, I'm not putting this out there for people to be like, oh, you think you're better than me? Oh, you think you're better than me? Well, what you're doing is stupid because I couldn't do what you do, and you're dumb because you made me feel bad about myself. I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm not doing it to compare myself to you or anybody else. I'm putting this out there to show people what I'm doing, and I'm just vlogging my experience on this restrictive style diet. And also just to be like, yeah, it is doable. It sucks. It sucks bad sometimes, but it's 100% doable. Like if I could do it, and I'm nobody special, everybody can do this to not only fix their health, but in get in better shape and feel better about themselves. That's basically what it comes down to. So now that I got that big, huge, stupid rant out the way, I am actually going to be doing yoga this morning. I was going to do it in the house, but my daughter had a sleepover last night, and they all decided to sleep in the living room where I was going to do my yoga. So instead, I'm going to do it here in the gym. I'm going to try to do about 30 to 40 minutes of it. The video that I was going to be watching to do was an hour and a half, but I'm going to go in segments. So I'm going to do probably about 30 minutes, try to do 30 to 40 minutes, and then I'm going to get my bar. I have a 50-pound bar and I have a 100-pound bar that are 2 foot long, and I'm going to do some deep tissue work on my arms and shoulders and pec and legs and everything like that. And I'm probably going to end up going to the chiropractor today too. And as far as it goes for my sciatic and that problem I've been having in my back, it seems that every single time I work my hamstrings out and I do those back extensions and Romanian deadlifts, it stretches my low back and my hamstrings under load, which actually makes my back feel a lot better. But my back also hasn't been bothering me since Thursday night. Since I was doing yoga and stretching, it's felt a lot better. Friday, it didn't bother me at all. Saturday, it didn't bother me at all. And this morning, I haven't felt it and it hasn't bothered me. But just because I haven't felt it or bothered me doesn't mean that there's still not something in there. And then you can't just like, oh, okay, well, my cut scabbed over, so I must not have a wound there no more. Well, no, just because you scab over doesn't mean it's completely healed. It's going to take time. So I'm gonna get this yoga going, and I'm going to start doing this corrective stretching and start trying to work on my imbalances and build up that flexibility and mobility so I'm not walking around like I'm a stiff board tipping on its edges trying to walk down the road. Let me get this started, and then we'll see how far I get on it. Okay, so that was 42 minutes. A little bit longer than what I actually thought I was going to be able to do, but I'm going to call it at that pose right there. Reason being was when I was in that last stretch, you saw me kind of get out of it quickly because I was in that Warrior 2 stretch position with the chest open, and I felt something like in here, right inside towards my hip joint. I felt like a two pops, like a pop pop, but it wasn't like a joint pop. It felt like tissue popping, like whether it was a tendon, a ligament, or a muscle. It felt like something like not something that was not supposed to pop kind of pop. So I'm not really sure. Maybe it was a joint or something, or maybe it was just something tight and gritty that was finally letting go and releasing. But it wasn't like a super sharp stabbing pain sensation, but it was definitely uncomfortable and did not feel good. So I was like, I'm not going to push through this. I'm going to call it right here. And then I'm gonna do this again next Sunday, and I'm gonna see if I can get further than that, or if I get back to that position. And now I have to see throughout the week how my hips feel and my knees feel during cardio, and while I'm working out, all the way up leading back till next Sunday to see how I feel doing yoga again. Also, the whole entire time I was doing this, I never had any issue in my hip or my sciatic or knee. I haven't had any pain at all. So it's going really good. But now I had that little thing happen, so I'm like, great. Now what I'm doing, trying to fix one issue, is it causing another issue? A domino effect, right? It's a chain. When you get one bad link, it sends a whole bunch of issues up the chain or down the chain, however you want to think about it. I'm going to do some tissue work now. I'm going to get my bar, and I'm going to roll out my legs. I'm going to roll out my arms as well, and I'm going to see if I can't get a little bit more loosened up on the front end. I'm going to do my hips, and I'm going to do my quads, and then maybe my biceps, possibly my shoulders. We'll see how far I get, how much pain I'm willing to go through this morning before I'm finally like, okay, that's enough. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here. So this is a 50-pound bar right here. I have a 100-pound bar underneath there. And what I'll do is I'll just take this bar. I will work up to the 100-pound bar eventually. I'll just take this 50-pound bar, get it nestled in right on top of my hip here. And then the difference between this and doing deep tissue therapeutic massage, one, this is free. You just got to go find a steel yard or a metal supply depot, and this is called a round stock. The 3-inch diameter by 2 foot will get you right at 50 pounds. A 4-inch diameter by 2 foot will get you 100. A 5-inch by 2 foot will get you 150. So basically every inch you're going to gain about 50 pounds worth of weight. So this is, one, it's free. Two, this is constant tension. This does not let up. If someone's pushing on you and they start getting tired, or their thumb starts getting tired, or their arm, they're going to not push so hard. So you're going to lose pressure on the muscle. And with this, it is non-stop, continuous, 100% even pressure the whole time. It does not change. Now, whenever you're doing deep tissue work, the whole kicker is you want to be able to go until you find a spot, which didn't take very long, like right there, that's tight. And then once you find that spot that's tight, you'll know because it's going to be painful and you can feel the muscle squishing. You hold the weight on that position, on that spot. You don't move past it quickly. You stop. And then you hold the weight until it completely stops hurting. And you'll know when it stops hurting because the pain's going to go completely away and you'll just feel pressure. Once you feel that, the muscle has finally released. It's let loose and it's relaxed, and then the muscle tissue is finally calmed down. Now it's not going to stay like that. Once you roll off of it and you come back, it's going to be tender, but still. And then once you feel it release, you can start rolling it again very, very slowly. If it's just a little sore or if it feels a little bit of tension, that's fine. But if it's very, very loud, and by loud, I mean painful, stop and let it sit. Let it settle and let the pain subside. If about 2 minutes goes by, 3 minutes, and the pain's only getting worse and it's getting more intense, that means that you probably have something else further down the chain that's also irritated, that's causing that muscle to not let loose. And then from there, you need to move on and continue down the ladder. It should take about 2 minutes of it sitting on a spot for it to finally release. If it doesn't release, you need to push through, and it might hurt really bad to continue down. But once you get all the way down, you let it settle for like a minute at the bottom of the joint or the top of the knee. And then once you settle down there for like a minute or so, you work the bar back up the leg to the hip. And by doing that, it's going to be excruciatingly painful. Excruciatingly painful. Going up is always way worse than going down. It always hurts way more. But whenever you get back to the top, your leg is going to feel really light, and then you're going to have a true deep tissue massage. Now, I'm starting with a 50-pounder because my legs are so beat up and tight and sore that I can't handle the 100-pound bar right now. I could, but it would literally be torture. It would just feel so excruciatingly painful. I would probably be here for 2 hours, if not 3, just trying to get one leg worked down because of how bad it is. So instead, what I'm doing is I'm going to gradually build into it with my 50-pounder. And as my leg becomes looser and looser, I'll be able to take my bar faster and faster up and down my leg with no pain. And then I'll be able to graduate to the 100-pound bar. And I'll be like starting back over with a 50-pound bar. Incredibly painful and agonizing, but not as bad as it would be if I started with it. And then that's going to slowly start loosening up the muscles. And it's going to slowly start allowing me to get my tendons and ligaments and joints and muscles relaxed doing this. But you can overdo it with this too. Like if you start doing this every single day, you can kind of start overdoing it. The most I would probably do this is maybe 3 times a week, maybe 3 times a week. Definitely not the day before or the day after a leg workout. So I worked out my hamstrings yesterday, so I'm not doing my hamstrings today. That's why I'm working on my quads. Next time I work my quads out, I will do my hamstrings, but not the quads. See right here too, when you get to the knee, all the muscles tie in to the knee joint. So you have 4 muscles that tie in, so you can feel all 4 of those muscles separate and flatten out. And it's a very weird feeling. It's painful, it hurts, it's uncomfortable, it's weird feeling. It's more weird than painful. It's more painful than weird sometimes. It's just an awkward feeling. But whenever the muscles separate and flatten out, it feels good. And once they stop screaming at you and then coming back up is the absolute worst. Now, I know that I'm moving along here pretty quickly, and you might be like, this is quickly? Yes, this is quickly. If it wasn't quickly, I would be having to stop like every quarter inch, like roll it up like a quarter inch and then stop, roll it up a quarter inch and then stop, roll it up a quarter inch, stop. And if you're that sore where you have to do this for 2 minutes and then roll this much, wait 2 minutes, roll this much, wait 2 minutes, roll. See, oh, I don't know if y'all saw that shift on my leg right there or not, but that was the muscles separating right there. And oh man, that was painful. But anyway, so like I said, see that's a little tight, so I'm gonna let it sit right here till it calms down. And then once that calms down, I'll be able to roll a little bit more. So like I said, I'm going through this pretty quick. This is really tight in here, so I'm gonna take this slow. I'm going through this pretty quick because it could take up to 20 minutes to do just the down. 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes just to go down, then another 25, 30 minutes just to come up. And like I said, sometimes coming up is way more painful. Like right now, this is way more painful coming up than it was going down. And I can feel this in my hip, and I can feel this all the way down through my knee and into my calf. See, that's tight right there. Whew, that's painful. Remember, there's also 4 muscles right here that tie in. You have a muscle that comes, you have your teardrop that comes up, and then you have another muscle that ties in, another muscle that ties in, and then another muscle. So right here is where these 2 muscles start to separate. So it's kind of flattening them out and opening them up. So it gets a little tender right there. Up is always worse than down. It is always worse than down. So this is how I do my deep tissue. Now, once I get all the way back to the top of the quad, I will, let's see, yeah, okay. What I'll do now is I'm not going to actually record all of it, but next is I'll take my leg, I'm going to open it up like this. I'll let the weight of the bar push my knee to the floor. I'll roll down the side of my leg, hit my teardrop, and that's incredibly painful. Back down, I'll straighten my leg up, and then I'll lay the bar over here on this side, and I'm going to roll the bar down to my knee, back up. And then what I'm going to do is, unlike just let my leg relax like this, I'm going to hold my leg in this position here and roll straight down the center, because that was more like this side. And I'm going to roll straight down the center and then back up. And then from there, I'm going to lay down flat. And then I'm going to take the bar and I'm going to roll out the hip muscles here at an angle. I'll just show y'all real quick.
I'm going to take the bar crossways like this, and I'm going to roll out that hip muscle, and I'll rotate it this way, and I'm going to find what's tight and sore and roll out that hip joint, and then I'm going to lay to my side, and then I'm going to lay it here and roll out the hips as well. And I'm going to move the bar wherever I need to move to position it to get the pressure that I need to work on whatever muscle's tight. So these bars are incredibly helpful. They'll save you thousands of dollars on deep tissue work, and they'll save you lots and lots and lots of moments of agony and pain for all over your body. So I'm going to get this done, and I'll get back with y'all in a little bit. Now that we're done with that, in the house, the yoga is great for stretching like the hips, the back, the hamstrings, but it doesn't really have like a good tibialis or quad stretch in there. So I'm in the house right now doing this after my deep tissue. I'm sitting on my ankles, trying to stretch my tibialis and my quads, because I feel like this is actually, it gives me the most relief in my knee and in my quad, because when I bend my heel to my hamstring is whenever I get the most pain in the hamstring and the hip knee area. So I'm going to get this extreme stretch in for this area, because it's not really added in the yoga. And then now that all that's done, I just got to cook my food for the rest of the week. And we're actually going to be going to Bolt Fitness today to go check out some of their equipment and what they have there, and see what they have on the showroom floor, if they have any deals and pricing and everything like that. And maybe we'll get some ideas of what we want to buy here in the future, or maybe, we'll just see how it goes whenever we get there. Okay, we're here at Bolt Fitness, and this is their Houston location. I don't know if they have other locations, but go ahead and pan the camera around so you can see how big the facility is and how much equipment they have here. That they got used equipment, new equipment. They're constantly coming out with new designs and new different like angles and all kinds of crazy stuff. So there's a lot of things here that you don't see in commercial gyms, because like this right here behind us, look at this right here. This is a shoulder press. It's a very different, unique style shoulder press from what you normally see, because this is your arms right here, kind of like a Smith machine almost, but just for your shoulder press. So we're going to look around and see what they have. I have an idea of a couple pieces of equipment that I want to look at to get the prices on it. But ultimately, like, there's a few things in our gym that we want to change out and gear more towards bodybuilding versus powerlifting. And there's things that we're not able to do like we used to do, like for instance, squats. And then there's certain shoulder movements and things like that we want to see about maybe finding a machine that will allow us to be able to do those movements without having to use like using a lift that's going to cause us pain or discomfort or impingement and everything. So we're going to look around, see what they got, check out the prices. So this right here is something that I really want to get. Now they have a 2-in-1 where it's an incline press, and on the back side they use the same machine and the leverages for the high row. But because of the way that my pec is after I had my surgery, my injury, doing incline bench press doesn't really feel good, but incline dumbbell press is fine. But this allows to get a really deep stretch. It takes the shoulders completely out of the movement and allows you to really focus on the pectorals and squeezing. Like right there, I can squeeze my pec really hard, and I can't do this with dumbbells. Like I can get a good movement on the dumbbells, but this right here, it actually allows me to squeeze the top of the pecs really hard. And even only having half a pec with the surgery and with my damaged pec, this isn't an issue. And this isn't something that's going to require a whole lot of weight to get a whole lot of stimulus out of. And like I said, I feel that all through here and in here. And then my damage is down here. So I don't feel it in there. I don't feel it in my shoulders. This shoulder has impingement. It's been bothering me for a while. So even doing dumbbells, I still get a little something there. But this right here completely takes all that away. So we're looking at pieces of equipment that's going to allow us to be able to train our weak areas. And for me, my chest is a huge weak area because of my pec and everything, but also I have weak areas like my arms. But the main thing is like building up my chest, because if I want to compete in bodybuilding, I'm going to have to get some way to be able to really focus and target my chest that I haven't been able to do with the equipment that I have now. I really like this. This whole thing moves. This preacher car, I've never seen nothing like this till about a year ago. But the whole entire structure moves when you're on it. But I have to tell you, this is probably the smoothest bicep machine I have ever felt in my life. And it really hits that bicep. But the pad moves with your arm as you curl and just keeps you in a really good position. And even being no weight on here, this still feels really good. And you could get such a good peak contraction, a deep stretch on it. It just feels really, really good. This is also something else I would really like to get for the gym to work on my arms. But
the problem is we only have so much real estate in the gym to move, like to be able to change equipment out. But this is something really cool here I'd like to get. Okay, so we looked at a lot of their equipment, and there's two pieces of equipment that we really want to get. One they don't have in stock, the other one they do, but they're still assembling it. So we're going to actually look at getting rid of some of the equipment in the gym that we don't use or have a need for, and try to make a little bit of money back on that equipment. And then whenever the time comes, we're going to come back up and buy those other two pieces of equipment. So we found exactly what we need to build our back and our chest up more on the things that I'm lagging on. But like I said, unfortunately, I don't have the room in the gym right now, that we're going to have to try to make room and sell some of the equipment and move some things around to be able to do that. But the time will come. We will get them. It's just I'm itching. I want to get them right now. But the thing is, I don't have nowhere to put the other stuff. So we're going to wait on that. But that's going to be it for today on the video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll post it tomorrow back to normal as usual as far as it goes for things that are concerned on our content. I'm down, like I said, 18 pounds in 4 weeks. So I'm happy about that. My diet's going strong, still doing what I need to do today. It never stops, 24/7 around the clock until the end of July. But thanks for watching. End of the video here.